session. Please kindly do not overcrowd the chat box with unnecessary remarks such as hadir as it disturbs other participants. You may scan the QR code at the end of the presentation to register your attendance. You can also find the registration link in the chat box. If you have any trouble, please contact the secretariat via the chat box. And lastly, if you have any question to be addressed to the speaker, please kindly state your question in the chat box during the Q&A session. To our members, please note to register your attendance for CPD application approval. Participants, we have a good news for MBOT members. Maximize your MBOT membership privilege, access exclusive discount and special offers on healthcare, eyewear, automotive, and lifestyle product from our premium partners. Simply scan the QR code or visit MBOT official platform to explore your member rewards. Today, we will have a sharing about AI, a true accelerator or a true hype by T.S. Shahriar Rizauddin bin Muhammad Mohtar. This insightful session will be moderated by T.S. Harshilawati Hanim Muhammad Johar. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce our moderator. With 20 years of extensive experience in the oil and gas industry, T.S. Harshilawati is a seasoned expert in digital transformation, technical data management, and business technology alignment, armed with a degree in information communication and technology from UTP, a master's holder in business intelligence and analytics from IIUM, and currently pursuing her PhD at IIUM. Her impactful career spans leading digital transformation projects at Petronas and specialized technical data management roles and innovation coach in top oil and gas engineering consultancies. Beyond her corporate experience, she has collaborated with industry leaders to bridge the gap between business, technology, and customer satisfaction, driving solutions that create lasting impact. She is also a member of Malaysian Board of Technologies as a Committee of Publication Department. She is a passionate advocate for innovation and excellence. T.S. Harshila remains at the forefront of shaping the future of digitalization in the oil and gas sector. Please welcome T.S. Harshilawati to moderate the session. The floor is yours. Sorry, T.S., your mic is muted.
Okay, thank you, Nina. Okay, thank you for the introduction. Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today to this webinar. Okay, today's webinar session will tackle a question, yeah. Many of us are asking in the industry, AI. I think it's the most buzzword now. Okay, is it a true accelerator or is just a hype? It's just a trend. Okay, so we hear a lot of AI transforming the way we explore and operate, but the real challenge for many of us is knowing what actually works, what actually gives us. What is it with me, within me? What deliverable value and what is practical to implement on the ground? So for this session, it's really about cutting through the noise and getting real practical insights of using AI. How do we evaluate AI solutions? What should we focus on? And how we do ensure AI become a true accelerator in our daily operation. My name is T.S. Harshilawati Hani Muhammad Johar, your moderator for today. So it is my pleasure to introduce next to me is T.S. Shahriar Rizauddin Muhammad Mohtar, currently the head of technology and digital for MPM, Malaysia Petroleum Management. T.S. Shahriar has built an impressive career across 16 countries with extensive experience in upstream management, as well as digitalization, data analytics, automation, and also AI. His unique perspective spanning both operation and also technology puts him in a strong position to help us understand what is really meant to move AI from a concept to a real impact that we usually need to use beneficially. And I'm really looking forward to have this insightful conversation with T.S. Shahriar. So without further ado, please welcome T.S. Shahriar Rizauddin.
Thank you, Sheila.
Okay, let us, we have a different tone, okay, for today's session, all right? So let us set the tone first, T.S. Shahriar. Let's start simple first, okay? I think we always hear AI. right? So for today's theme is AI in upstream. Okay, do you see more real acceleration, or just we are uh just following the hype, just following the trend? Because everybody is talking about AI, everybody is talking about analytics. So how can we set the real tone of
Okay. All right. Thank you, Sheila. First of all, thank you to SPE KL as well, Society of Petroleum Engineering KL, and also MBOT, Malaysia Board of Technologies, for organizing the ThursWeb, inviting me to be part of the session. Okay. Now, that is actually a question that may differ if you ask different people. Is it a hype or a true accelerator? And to be what we've seen so far, especially in the upstream of oil and gas, it depends on the person who is actually implementing AI. So hype itself is required. Acceleration or accelerator using AI as an accelerator is the target that we want to achieve. Without a hype, we cannot pull people to use enough AI to achieve the acceleration. So the question of whether it's a true AI, it's a true accelerator or a true hype is actually a mix. And it depends on who is actually leading, using, implementing those AI solutions. Without hype, you will not see people use Gemini, without people using
like Copilot,
Copilot.
ChatGPT?
Yes, correct. So the hype is required. Okay. But the challenge about hype is the word hype is like fashion. It can be seasonal.
Yeah.
Okay. The challenge about AI is about how do we then sustain that hype, continuously keeping people or user excited to use AI. AI is all about experience. How you experience AI. Oh, let's say for example, you get it's simple. You use a Gemini and you upload a photo, you enhance, and every Hari Raya there's always a theme. 1 year is about enhancing picture into a Ghibli
Yes.
photo.
Because we are following the hype,
Correct.
the trend.
But the result is people are excited, continue to use it,
Yeah.
and so on. So in the upstream oil and gas industry, both are needed. So acceleration is the target. That is what AI is all about, accelerating existing practices in the upstream industry in oil and gas. But the hype is really needed. Without the hype, fraternity in the upstream will continue to work as usual. Oil and gas is a very mature industry. Truth be told, without AI, we will continue to drill the well, we will find hydrocarbon, we will also work on to renewable energy and all that. So to get something new into the upstream perspective, hype is needed. It's really about making people excited to use AI. As much as people in the oil and gas are excited when 100 years ago we first run our logs, and this is how we look at the reservoir, this is where the oil is, people get excited. And then when you get the first oil to surface or the first gas, people are excited, we celebrate. So the hype is needed for AI to actually attract people in the upstream industry to continue to start using and sustaining the usage of AI. So the answer is it's a mix. It all depends on the implementer, the leader, the user to make AI to stay as just a hype or to really accelerate. Yeah.
Okay. I think it's truth to be told,
Yeah.
right? So nowadays we are using AI for instance, the nearest is our headphones,
Yep.
right? So, but there's a lot of AI buzz, out there, just like you mentioned
Yeah.
previously. So everyone is truly wanted to use, even though it's not just necessity, they can use just the fundamental ways,
Yep.
right? Okay. So how do you personally, from your POV lah, okay, separate what's genuinely valuable from what's just a noise, just to jump into the bandwagon?
Okay. So there are a few criteria that we usually look at in the perspective of upstream oil and gas, where AI can play its role. Now, of course, in the upstream industry, AI is more complex compared to a normal utilization of the phone and so on. So there are a few elements that we've got. First of all, will it compress the time of any of our processes? If it shortens the time, the AI that we intend to use will shorten and compress the time to arrive or to achieve to a decision. That's the first criteria. If that AI that we intend to use can do that, then that's not noise. That is what AI is about, accelerating. Second, will it be embedded into processes? May it be engineering processes or business processes. If the AI that we want to use is on its own platform, separate from our work processes, then that's another noise. Imagine Copilot. You have to open up another app. You are working on an, let's say, studies of or analysis of a reservoir. That is our normal way to do, right? Then you have to open up Copilot and ask or, request for assistance. But then you have to go back to the reservoir analysis. So that is a standalone application on its own. So it's not embedded into the process yet. So that is an example. Those are the two main things that we look at, whether it can compress time, whether it's embedded into our engineering or business process. Last but not least is actually, can the AI give a different perspective or additional perspective? So some of our analysis that we look at, based on our knowledge of our core knowledge in the oil and gas, but whether the AI can actually give a different perspective or an additional perspective that is unseen based on our normal conventional ways. For example, seismic interpretation per se. The current technology we have in our core, we can see certain areas, certain perspective of the seismic. If an AI that we intend to use can show us things that unseen before, that's another acceleration that we are intended to do. So those are some of the elements that we look at to put away the noise and what AI exactly can accelerate it. Last but not least, the fourth one is how sustainable AI is. Correct. Yeah. So those are the elements that usually we use to separate between noise, AI noise, and AI as an accelerator.
So that is how we define a true accelerator in upstream business, right?
Yeah.
So it makes the AI solution more meaningful and people use it for their daily works and to give more benefits lah.
Correct.
Okay.
The value that needs to come from AI, part of the analysis of where to apply AI, that is paramount. The value needs to be very clear what additional value AI can bring to any specific processes. Okay, I give you an example. The journey that we're embarking in Malaysia Petroleum Management, what we call MDIC, MPM Digital Intelligence Center. One of the key achievement that we are trying to get is to shorten our discovery to first hydrocarbon. In average, Malaysia is looking at 100 months. From the day that we found something in the ground to the first hydrocarbon that is being produced, about 100 months. We are putting up an AI intelligence center that can actually to try to reduce that 100 months to less than 50 months. The clear value is that we are then expediting, accelerating the first hydrocarbon that we get and so on. So that is an example that what we are doing now.
To put a very impact milestone lah in the
Correct.
hydrocarbon journey.
The value must be very clear what we want to get at the end of the day.
Okay, so for value-based selection, so before even deploying AI in upstream, right? So what are the key asks? What are the key questions from the team that should ensure that the use case, I mean, every AI should have at least a realistic ones, right? At least.
Okay.
So that's the ideal case. Okay.
Okay.
So to ensure, is this the use case or is this the project is worth pursuing because AI is everywhere, right? So how worth to pursue a use case with AI?
Okay, so we do have a framework that we use as the baseline on where to apply AI. First is to really be very sure when we identify the pain points or the problem that we want to solve. It must be very clear. First of all, what is the pain point? What is it that we need to improve? Okay, that's the very first one. The second one is who will then be impacted by them? Okay, is it the drillers? Is it the reservoir engineers? Is it the geoscientists?
One focus group lah.
Correct.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Third, is it solving an individual pain points or a systemic pain point? That one of the trends that we look in the past decade on digital transformation. Before there's AI, industry went through a digital transformation and into data analytics solution. There were incidents that eventually development of a digital solution solve just a small group or even an individual pain points. It doesn't then bring the impact on the whole flow of the either engineering or business process. It doesn't shorten anything. It just makes someone's life easier. Which is not wrong, eventually. I mean, that's what handphones are all about, what webinar is all about. You know, it helps individuals. But for an upstream operation or business perspective, it always needs to rely on the systemic impact. So those are the three things that the very fundamentals we look at. A clear identification of pain points or improvement. Second is who actually will be impacted. Remember, AI is still remains as a tool.
Yep.
Human interaction is still required to a certain extent, and that's where the impact needs to go to. Third is, as I mentioned just now, all this, the persona or the people and also the pain point, then goes into the whole chain of AI innovation. So these are the things that you have to look into to make sure that the value comes out. Now, I did mention about pain points and improvement. So AI is not just about to solve things. People always
Have a mindset.
have a mindset that AI is to solve
Problems.
issues. No. Sometimes it's just about you want to improve something. I give you an example. Things that we use day to day in the likes of Spotify, Netflix, right? Without AI, all you need to do is search what you want to watch, what you want to listen. Okay? No problem. You search. Type is not that difficult. Some are voice activated. But there's a feature where they will recommend you movies. It's not a pain point. It's just that's where the experience come in. Netflix, Spotify, all this give the user the experience that I don't even need to prompt. I don't even need to ask. I receive suggestions or insights based on my likings. So that's one part that people need to understand. The trend that we see is always let's find a problem to solve. Always about finding a problem to solve. Sometimes it's not that. Sometimes it's just to improve, to change workflows, to help refocusing energy of and time of people to be on things that matters most, not crunching numbers, not spending a lot of time on Excel spreadsheet, because all of that's some of the areas that AI can help. So remember, it's not just about problem solving, but it's also looking at efficiency, in other words, right?
Yeah. Because to see the example of Netflix, right? They are also helping to see people's behavior,
Correct.
right? Also to uplift and to add more value on how we do things, right?
Yeah.
So that I think is reflects also in upstream where we just don't solve problem.
Yeah.
We should understand how we can uplift, we can add on more.
Yeah.
Right?
I give you an example of that. In drilling, drilling is one of the core discipline in upstream industry of oil and gas, right? We have been drilling. Let's just talk about Malaysia. We have been drilling more than 100 years then. Okay, from the very first days of drilling. Okay, and without AI, as I said, we will still continue to drill wells. Okay. But there's always that journey of how we do then make drilling operations safer. How do we make drilling faster, more optimized? So there are works that have been done that Petronas, for example, is one among about 5 operators globally that embark on autonomous drilling. Autonomous drilling, in layman's term, is like you have a self-driving car. So a certain section of when we do drilling operation, it's a matter of pressing the play button and then it will drill. As I mentioned, without that, we can still drill well. So it was not a real problem. It was actually how we want to improve the drilling efficiency, remove more people from the rig floor, make it safer and all that. So that is where it's not a pain point. It's more about improving what we have today.
So as we know that AI accelerates, right? But I think from the combination of few angles, I think
Yeah.
skill set also is to people also accelerate. People that
Yeah.
needs to have a skill set to accelerate the AI also, right? It's a combination lah.
Yep.
Right? To make I think to make more beneficial on using and to make it work.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. So data,
Mhm.
right? Okay. We go from the angle of data that fit inside AI, right? So we often say AI is only as good as the data itself. So it's like rubbish in, rubbish out.
Yeah.
If you have a good one, then you have
Yeah.
the outcome will be good. So what from your past experience, right?
Right.
What are the common gaps and maybe challenges you see throughout your experience that they think I already have the data.
Mm.
I have so many data everywhere.
Yeah.
So are they really ready to output something worth in AI, or they just can't do it
Mhm.
because they have, so
Yeah.
they don't know what to do with their data, or we are ready. So
Mm.
from your perspective, what are the common gaps that people are using AI, especially in upstream?
All right. This is where I really would like to share and also challenge and recommend for any AI practitioner to shift towards making data meaningful for AI. In any digital transformation, we always talk about, yes, data is a pillar, and it remains as a pillar. Without data, you cannot do AI. Okay? But there's certain mindset and also practices that needs to change to it. First of all, data will never be perfect. It is required. Data will never be perfect. Okay? If we keep waiting on data to be perfect, we will not move with AI. Okay? But it's a skill where you need to understand where is the threshold that you can accept the data that we have to do the AI. Data management alone is a very mature discipline in the digital world. For those who familiar with DAMA, data management, the MBOK, Book of Knowledge, we have a structured way on how to manage data. Not only for the upstream industry,
The whole of
the whole of data management usually refer to this. So we have all that. We have criteria to determine data quality. I personally have done many digital works. I have not seen any data quality that is 100%.
I think that's the crucial ones lah.
Right.
Quality.
Yes, but we do put a threshold. Okay, in order for us to use it, it needs to meet a certain percentage, maybe 85%.
Certain standards lah.
Correct. Yes. But it will never be perfect. So that's the first shift that people need to do. And that is one of the challenges. People to start using it, I want the data to be perfect, freeze, very clean, and so on. Second is the belief that, yes, data in oil and gas and upstream is abundant. It's just a matter of we need a solution on how to use the data. Abundant doesn't mean that we need all the data that is there. Sometimes we have abundant data, but we don't use it.
We don't use it. Yeah.
There's a lot. That's a big challenge there. We've been collecting data but we actually have not been using it. We've been storing it, and now we are figuring out how to use this. Because sometimes the AI that we want to do or implement requires a different set of data. It might be a brand new data that we need to collect. Okay, I mean, again, if I go to the day-to-day things that we work on or use, right? Do you think we Spotify and Netflix waited for all data to be available before they launch their product? No, they launch first. And AI is about that, learning, continuous learning, right? Third is the expectation that AI to be perfect. They want first, we want data to be perfect. Now we want AI to be perfect. As I mentioned, there's not going to be any perfect AI. Even Netflix also sometimes recommend me movies that I don't even like this genre.
Yeah.
So there will be that. Of course, for operation and for business perspective of upstream, the risk mitigation must be looked at. We use AI. Hence, that's why we will not remove human interface on high risk decision making. All right. Even in operation per se as well. So data, the challenges when it comes to the technical management remains the same in the past few decades. Data readiness, data quality, data hygiene, all that and all that. But what's more importantly is we want to embark into AI, the few things that we need to shift. First, as I mentioned just now, is we cannot wait until data is perfect. Yes. I personally, as I said, I've never seen data can be perfect. The next one is, I said, the belief that AI is also perfect. It's not.
Yes.
You want to wait for a model, AI model that can give 100% accuracy. Again, I've never experienced. We do put a minimum standard for AI model accuracy to be achieved before we can deploy it. Okay, so those are the things that we need to. It's a challenge, and we need to shift a little bit on our dependency on the idea of perfect data and perfect AI model.
Yeah, I think we can also tie back to the simplest is ChatGPT, right?
Yeah.
So even if we prompt something, it doesn't mean that it will come out the perfect answer that we prompt, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's the theoretical that
Yes.
I think most they just crawl whatever available data.
What they can reach. Yeah. True.
Right. So in upstream, I think from your experience, how is data behavior can affect and impact how AI reads? You know, because we have subsurface data,
Yep.
we have so many kinds of unstructured and structured data also.
Yep.
Right. And also this is a very another crucial part is how the people manage the data, because people are having different backgrounds.
Yep.
Right. They are leveraging in tacit and explicit using experience and also
Yep.
this one. So from your past experience and Shahril, so how can we manage this kind of different behaviors in data and also the people that interprets and people that give instruction to use AI with this kind of gaps?
Okay, so first of all, on the data management part, so the very first thing that we look at when it comes to improving on our data quality is actually data ownership.
Yep.
Okay, every individual actually in their domain per se is responsible for the data that they create and use. Okay, so that's the very first thing. The data ownership must be very clear. If you're a driller, by modeling is you own the data that you create or you collect or you acquire. All right, that's very important. This data ownership must be part of compliance because we've seen eventually people are not managing their own data responsibly. Okay, this is where, especially in AI, we have elements like AI governance, AI ethics, because part of it is actually making sure the data that we own is being managed properly.
Yeah.
How we manage it, of course, that's when I mentioned just now, Dharma comes in. It helps people, correct, yes. It helps people to actually manage their data per se. It's a continuous challenge to make people continue to be responsible of their own data, partially because they don't understand or reluctant to understand that data will impact not only themselves, but when it's being used by others. Okay. Typically, in any organization, people move around, they change position, they change roles, and so on. But the data remains, especially if that organization has its own digital data library or digital database platform that stores all this data. The next generation will then start using this data. So if we are not responsible on the ownership of that data, the impact is beyond us. Okay, so that's one of the things that. But of course, it's a challenge. But this is where upskilling of AI upskilling, training, organization like Petronas, we continue to provide that in order for people to understand that data will impact not only themselves, but also next people who are using it, the system that using it, and so on. So, like mentioned just now, it's human that's eventually responsible for the data. Okay, and ownership is where we need to start. Very clear that when the data within your domain, you own the data, you are responsible for it. Okay.
So it's not just hype per se.
No.
It's practically and technically you need to have something that really let's say accelerates the data by having by using AI. So it really gives some meaningful and worth using it in
Yep.
an organization.
Of course,
The
of
upstream.
course. Just to know, as I said, it sounds, some people feel that it's a very alien area, data, digital system, and so on. Especially for just users. Users eventually they just want to see an output. Okay,
Yeah.
just an output of all these technical jargons when it comes to digital. They just want the output and use it. But as I mentioned, this is where we cannot remove the human aspect of AI and all that, because humans are still there to ensure, as I said, we talk about data, rubbish in, rubbish out, garbage in, garbage out when it comes to data, right?
Yes.
But the very source of data is actually owned by human. Human needs to be responsible of that data per se. We can provide systems or platform. We have been doing that to help to make sure that the data is first available, continuously to be available, continues to be at a minimum health state, hygiene state. But the very source of data, it still goes back to the human, for the people itself. Okay, and people need to understand that, because the output of any AI model or AI solution given will go back to human.
Yeah.
So
we still need human,
correct.
right? Intervention from human. So and another one is I think our generations, right? Like Gen Zs, especially, they are more hype, more trend on AI per se. So but when it comes back to how we use data in AI, actually the human is creating the AI, right?
Yep.
So it's not the AI that controls all our workflows or our process. So it's actually eventually coming back, not the hype, because the hype is coming from the human being itself.
Correct.
Right?
Yes. Yeah, you're talking about workflows. Yeah.
Mm.
For AI to work, the workflows itself, when you embed AI in the workflows, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's human who designed it.
Exactly.
It's us.
Yeah.
We determine how the workflows would be and so on. And once the basic AI model works to our expectation, it will then run on its own and continuous relearning and learning whatever new data that's been fed in. And this is where insights, when it provides insights or even move towards the high level of automation, sometimes you will get surprised on what will be because they continue to learn, right? I mean, I personally experienced that as well. On certain, I give you an example. One of the solution that is being built by Petronas, the what we call Ermine, where you can identify behind casing opportunities, which before this takes many months to find. But now, as it continues to be used and learn about the reservoir that we feed in, the reservoir that we feed in, it goes up to just 6 seconds to identify where do you go and perforate and get your hydrocarbon. And that builds with time. It's not immediately from few months of food system.
Yeah, it's not
that.
overnight.
And that's the experience people when they continues to feed the data, the right data, and the AI model continue to learn, more new surprises starts to kick in.
Yep.
So very, very, very important on that.
But talking about workflows, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everything. I think in upstream, it's so famous that we are improving workflows, improving processes. So, what does it take AI? Parts of the workflows to have a very realistic decision making from because decision making not just come from top management.
Yep.
We also make decisions every day.
Yep.
Right. So is it like what does it take for AI? Not just another dashboard.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I think it's I think it's a norm, like the dashboard itself is a hype because it has AI engine, it has an AI system. So I think not just about dashboard. So how can this AI parts can make the decision making more realistic, and it can give, or it can move some needle lah, at least.
Yeah.
Some results.
Okay.
Driving the organization.
So this is where I say go back to the few elements that we look at to separate the noise from actual AI that brings value or accelerating, right? So dashboard was the hype at one stage.
Yes.
Is
One point.
It's a more exciting Excel spreadsheet, in other words.
Because we can visualize.
We can visualize the data and so on. But what if I go back? How does AI impact? If it first helps us or suggests or provide insights on the decision itself. Again, the way it works before is from the dashboard. People will look at the dashboard, look at the data, analyze, then decide. So if the AI really works, it can actually now start suggesting what would be the decision, what are the steps that should be taken next in any other situation and all that. So that is one of the key things that we really look back at the three things. Next is to really move the level. It's quite straightforward. If, for example, drilling, without AI, it takes maybe 5 days to drill a typical well. If the AI can reduce it to 3, then that's the lever that it moves. Be careful on business process, though, because business process in the upstream is a huge web. It interconnects different elements, different workflows. Business process is more complex compared to operation. Operation complex on its own because it's a lot of physics-based AI. But business process, because it interlinks with multiple workflows. Okay. And this is where we need multi-agents inside and perform right. So I have experience designing an expedited and AI-assisted well design. To design a well, we have implemented what we call WIO, Wells Integrated Operation, where it integrates from well design to operation. So well design is a platform that was even, we call it FENX, where it's AI-assisted for our well design engineer to design a new well, to expedite different iteration of well design. And it has been proven from a conventional well design that usually will take about a basic well design will take about 3 to 5 months. We have reduced that by 50 up to 57 days. So by right, it should have moved the needle of a full field development proposal. But because that system has not been linked to the process of facilities design, subsurface design, the whole period to actually get an FDP approved did not move. It still remains 100 months because it's a business process. The technical AI of it on the wells has been achieved, but because it was not linked to a full business process, we don't see the impact. You don't see that the needle has moved when it comes to field development plan. That is an area that actually MDIC or MPM Digital Intelligence is trying to curate to connect all the different business processes using AI so that 100 months can really reduce to 50 months. AI will not reduce 100 to 50 months, but it will contribute to expedite. It will contribute. We are not saying AI will reduce 100 to 50 months, but it will expedite certain processes in order for us to achieve that 50% reduction.
We need many agents to
Definitely. For business process, you have to be multi-agents. Compared to operation or physics-based, usually it's a very focused. This is the AI model that needs to improve drilling, for example, make it faster and safer. Very seldom you see multiple agents needs to be connected. It can be achieved to that when you start connecting fluids, connecting to the drill bit itself. It can be up to that, but usually physics-based is very focused on certain niche agents. Okay.
Yeah, so I think it's more on a mixture of not just accelerates. I think we need to have a tinge of hype and trend.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Hype, as I said, hype is got to do with AI experience. We need to continue to make people feel excited and not threatened by the existence of AI.
I think we should embrace the hype also.
Yep.
Right?
Yes, I embrace the hype as much as we embrace using AI to, as I said, convert our Raya photos to Ghibli based, Star Wars based. I'm part of the hype as well. I like
Yes.
mainly because with my kids, I like to do that. So hype is needed.
Yeah.
Okay. Hype is needed to attract more people to use AI. And the biggest challenge in all this, in the upstream, is actually pulling people into use AI. AI is only useful when people use it because AI lives on utilization.
Yep.
It lives on utilization. It learns on utilization. When we feed in, when we prompt new things, without people using it, the intelligence will stay there. If we build an AI model that is equivalent to primary one, standard primary one, and we don't continue to use it, it was remain standard one. If we go to primary two or up the way to secondary knowledge. Okay?
That's why throughout my experience also at the SRN, I've been giving talks to students. I ever said that to them, treat your AI just like your 5-year-old brother or sister, because what we feed is what we tell the kids will tell the same thing.
Yep.
Right? So we need to learn and relearn of AI, right?
Yep.
So I think we are nearing our session of today. So okay, if you could give one piece of advice, okay, to upstream teams, okay, that wanted to explore or experience the impact of AI and giving benefits to the organization. So how do they avoid the hype? Maybe, I mean, truly, like just the hype, and focus on what they can mix hype and also accelerates delivering value.
Okay.
One piece of advice.
One only.
Okay, more also.
Okay lah.
Okay.
AI is more for most upstream fraternity people. We are very core to our discipline, right? We are a very mature industry, and AI, digital, all is from outside coming in. The tsunami of digital transformation and now is AI. First of all, let's be aware that we are not the expert to begin with. So when we don't really understand and know what AI is all about, go and talk to the right people, the real AI practitioners that really embrace the idea of how AI can accelerate upstream. This group of people are the ones that can help the core upstream fraternity to open up their minds, to have a different perspective on how to deliver the normal works that we have been doing. There are people who are trained and understand on how to link between the AI capability and the business and operation needs. Okay, that's one. Second, as much as we continue to learn on our core discipline, AI is a part where, yeah, we need to learn and read up about it a little bit. Not to the extent of a real to in-depth of technical requirements, because the jargon itself, it can be very technical, and people are just bogged down with their core works and so on. But there are courses, online courses that can easily help us to understand the very basic fundamentals on what is required to learn. But as I mentioned, the first step is you have an idea, go and talk to the right people, can help to compartmentalize and also help you to visualize how would AI help in your particular work per se. Going back to the few elements that I looked at, I mentioned just now, talking about really looking whether it's going to compress the time, whether it's going to solve a pain point or improve an existing workflow, and whether it will be embedded into a workflow itself. Okay, that would be my advice. Don't go straight away trying to create an AI model. Just talk to someone that who can help to really make you really understand on AI, and do some basic AI courses. There's a lot available free online with LinkedIn and all that. But also be careful, choose the right course. Don't just pick any AI course and all that.
Yeah, I think we go back to the basic of to understand the pain point and the problem, right? Okay. So thank you T.S. Sharil for delivering and the informative and insightful discussion to all our participants today. We will now proceed with the Q&A session. Okay. For all participants, if you have any, I think I see some of the question is in the meeting chat. So if you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the chat box. Okay. So I think we have some, T.S. Sharil. Maybe we can take one lah. Ini panjang kot. Sekejap.
Tengok question tu.
Ni kot. Okay. Saya tengok tak? How do you move from blind trust to verifiable AI?
Verifiable AI.
Specifically, how do we prevent automation bias where engineers might stop peer reviewing AI outputs in high-risk scenarios?
Good.
Okay.
Very, very good question. Because one of the challenges that we see in AI is how can we trust AI?
Yes.
How can we trust AI? How can we trust that the output or insights that is given or provided by the AI model, we can trust? But not to say bad, but it depends on where you're applicable. Okay, when it comes to operation, which is, as I mentioned, a lot of physics-based, my experience trying to provide a solution with my team for technical core people is they want to see the formula is being used. What formula is being used behind that AI model? If it's physics-based, okay? For production technologies, they want to feel and see how the nodal analysis is being used in the AI solution. Usually, if they can see that and experience that, they will start trusting the model. That is part of the adoption of AI. That when they see it's really based on, for example, for reservoir, Darcy's law. If any of the solution clearly show we are using Darcy's law, usually it's very good. So that is one way to create the trust in AI. Okay. When it comes to business models or decision making, insights, right? This is a bit tricky. That's why I say when it comes to connecting AI into business model, it's a bit tricky because it involves human perspective.
Yeah.
So one of the target of AI implementation is actually to humanize AI. It's not about just taking data sources from text, from Excel spreadsheet, from reports. It's actually trying to go towards how can I tap into the minds of the Sheila? How can my manager tap into the way my thought process? That's the very high level that you are trying to achieve, lah. Okay, because this is where we want to look at humanizing AI. That's that experience, the knowledge of that resides in individuals that plays a part in a business decision and so on. Yes, there are some rules that we look at, that we put in. And for users, I give an example. One of the AI solution that we worked on was Zenith, where it helps to decide on where to invest when it comes to business perspective, right? Leaders usually would like to see multiple scenarios before we can really land. And yes, this is the final decision to it to do this. And that model is where it is based on past decision made, past historical trendings of how business are being invested. So to answer your question, it depends on whether it's operational or business processes. To minimize the biasness itself, it depends on whether it follows a certain physics-based formulas and rules. And for business, whether it depends on, we really need to show that the AI solution is based on historical past decision making as well. Okay, which is not easy because this involves how human made decision previously as well. Okay.
Human got so many behaviors and
Correct.
experience
Yeah.
on designing something.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So I think we take the last questions. Salam and good afternoon, panel. To move beyond hype, how can Petronas constructively engage internal stakeholders to secure sustainable funding for AI amidst competing demands, okay, for traditional operational expenditure? So it's support AI new funding.
Petronas constantly engage internal stakeholders to
Ah,
secure sustainable funding for AI amidst competing demands for traditional operational expansion. Okay, good. As I mentioned, AI is a new area per se for oil and gas upstream industry, right? And it does involve a lot of funding for us to spend on, to use and spend on. And at the end of the day, of course, we are not even Petronas, any business, it is still a business investment decision, right? Whether we want to embark on AI or not. But nevertheless, we pass that as an organization. Yes, Petronas will invest in AI. The model itself on how to make it sustainable, this is where we are shifting a little bit from annual KPI because we know the AI impact may need a longer time. So usually the funding that we look at AI is over 3 years or over 5 years, depending on what is it, right? Usually for AI, it's very short, 2 years. Within 2 years, if we cannot come up with the solution and experience the impact, usually it will be cut short, lah. Okay, but we're already shifting towards that. It's not just about what can be delivered to this year, but we are looking at the longer term impact because AI is about experience. Once you see and experience that things can be expedited, the funding to itself is now moving towards that. It's over a period, not just for this year alone.
Yep.
It's not fixed to a project. For example, if in a typical development project, you submit a proposal, I want to develop this field, this is the cost, and that's it. You're bonded to that, you deliver and so on. But for AI, it's more about a longer term impact. Longer term in the sense that once we've executed the AI strategy, the impact will continue to be there.
Yeah.
But to execute it needs to be fast.
Yes.
AI strategy that being put forth in the Malaysia upstream sector is within the next 2 years. What we implement in the next 2 years will determine the longer sustainable impact on the industry. Beyond that, it will continue to build new AI, but very fundamental now. So to answer your question, that we are shifting on making AI is, a longer term sustainable fund. Okay.
Because AI is about continuity, continuous, continuity in using technology. AI also falls under technology.
Correct.
Right?
Yes, and as I mentioned, but of course, it is still a business investment. So as I mentioned, what has been invented in these first 2 years will determine whether we pivot, whether we change, whether we continue, whether we even amplify the AI investment. Those are all the next 2 years. Okay.
All right. So thank you, TS Shahril, for a very, I think, very hype discussion for today. So we appear to reach the end of today's session. So thank you to our panelist, TS Shahril, as well as to all participants for joining us today. Thank you once again. And now I'll hand it back to the secretariat. To you, Nina.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you to our distinguished speaker and moderator for today's session. Today's topic is very insightful and engaging. To our members, please note to register your attendance for CPD application approval. Participants, please kindly open your camera for a quick photo session with the speaker and moderator.
Dah buka lah.
So, participants,
Any question?
Okay. So 1, 2, 3, smile. Hold on. Okay. Another one. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay. We have now come to the end of today's session. We would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to T.S. Shahril for serving as our esteemed speaker and to T.S. Harshilawati for her excellent moderation. Our sincere appreciation also goes to all participants for your active engagement and valuable contribution throughout this session. Stay tuned for updates on our upcoming webinars by following us on Facebook and LinkedIn. We look forward to see you again soon. Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you all. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you, Des.
Thank you.